All right, dude, we are live. What's up, guys? This is Dem Keys, and today we are going to continue learning about polars. Now, I'm hopefully, well, no, I'm not going to say hopefully. I want to get back to Godot. So, today is probably going to be the last stream. If not today, then tomorrow is going to be the last, not last stream in general. Wait, why are we dropping frames? Wait, hold on. Let me pause the other stuff that I have running that might be taking up bandwidth. Yeah, I think we should be good. I think so. Yeah, okay. Today is hopefully going to be the last Polars stream, at least for now. If not today, then tomorrow. If I decide to, have another Polars stream tomorrow, I'm hoping tomorrow we'll get back into Godot, because all of this Polars stuff, um, I think I would prefer to do it off stream. At least like we'll do a bunch of the learning on stream, at least learning the basics. And once I have the basics down, then I'll go back to Godot and I'll continue doing the polars stuff off stream because I have a couple of data science and data handling related projects. Give me a second, guys. There's something that is causing, uh, what could it be? Okay, let's, just a second. I'm just trying to get an idea of what is actively consuming a whole bunch of the CPU power because it seems to be heating up the CPU. Okay. Let me just yap while I let this cool down a little bit, hopefully. Okay. So, what was I saying? I was saying, yeah, I do want to continue moving forward with polars. One, because I've already started with it and I don't want that to be a waste. But also because now that I've started with it and I've gotten um, a taste of it, for lack of a better term, I've gotten a taste of it. I kind of like what I'm seeing, and I wanna continue using polars for data science stuff. Any data handling related stuff, I want to use polars for it. Another reason I want to stick with polars is because I am hoping to do data science and data visualization stuff in Rust as well. And polars is built in Rust. So it's very much possible to, do polar stuff in Rust. Something I discovered though yesterday when I created a Rust project for polars. I created the Rust project. I added polars. There were a couple of kinks to work out here and there. Um, like, so there's the lazy thing. There's a feature called lazy. Um, that has to be enabled, but additionally, the example was talking about another library called Chrono. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't remember the name. But yeah, the library is called Chrono, and of the many things that it provides, one of the things is date and time related functionality, date and time related functions to operate on date and time objects, and it gives you an easier, let's say, way to just create date time objects and pass them into macros when you're creating a data frame in Polars on Rust. So I had a couple of issues there because when I installed Polars and then I tried to install Chrono, um, the version that was getting installed, the version of Chrono that was getting installed, Polars wasn't happy with that because Polars requires an earlier version. And then I had to go and I had to try and install that version. And then I think I ran into some other issue there as well. I need to look into the specifics surrounding this because so far I've only been looking at the docs. And in the docs, the example that was given, it wasn't even like they didn't even mention to install Chrono. It's just that the example said to install no, the example said to use Chrono. They didn't give any instructions on how to install Chrono. I'm guessing if they had given the instructions, they probably would have mentioned that, hey, so and so issues can occur, so you need to install specific versions and whatever. But it is what it is. I'm gonna do some research of my own and check their forums, check their GitHub repo, and all of that stuff to see. Okay, now I think I can get back to this window. Yeah, um, to see if anyone else has solved this problem because I'm sure if I've run into this issue, then other people have run into it as well. But okay, eventually I decided to just use the types that are provided with what do you call it? Oh, actually, I didn't move forward with that. I just remembered. I actually didn't move forward with uh, adding any sort of date time to a data frame in polars. Something I did notice is that on the Rust side, loading up a project with polars with the polars crate installed is significantly heavier. It's significantly heavier than opening a Python project. Um, so right now, if I have this Python project open in NeoVim, this is not going to be nearly as heavy as if I had a Rust project open with Polars currently installed, with the Polars crate currently added as a dependency in there. It takes it takes a good like 2.5 GB. So like the Rust analyzer has to load all of that in, and so the Rust analyzer takes like 2.5 GB of RAM when you have a Rust project, open with Polars added as a dependency. So that's something I need to be a little mindful of. Something else that I've noticed is that building the project itself, at least the very first time, building the project, it does take a couple of GB of RAM. So Polars is it's heavy to do development with, but then the final product is a highly optimized uh, set of instructions. Let's say the final program that you produce is going to be really well optimized and super fast and all of that stuff. I should look into what is going on the Python side because the Python side is interacting with the Rust library. I'm assuming there's FFI involved to a certain extent because Python interpreter and Rust library, these two are communicating together. So there's some sort of interface in between that is enabling this. Um, so I need to look into how that's working and why it is that in that case I don't have this issue of like a massive library being loaded. I wonder what would happen if I ran a script. Yeah, no, I need to see if there could be any possible situations where um, running a Python script that is using the Polars library, while it may be fast, is there a chance that it might just hog a lot of the RAM, a lot of the memory. I should look into that because so far I haven't had that issue. But to be fair, so far this is all I've done. All of this just simple stuff, creating a data frame, um, and then this kind of stuff, creating expressions, passing the expression into a context, and yeah, that's about it. We haven't really done too much more than that. And yesterday I kind of got hung up on this thing, which was the arbitrary arguments list and the arbitrary arguments dictionary, the keyword dictionary. Um, but yeah, I'd actually forgotten how this thing was working. Um, let's hold on. We can get rid of a bunch of this stuff. Okay, let's do. Okay, so let's say def some func or one. Um, we can. I don't remember how we are meant to be specifying. Okay, let's just say arg. Um, okay, whatever. And then here, how are we supposed to unpack this? So here we have args, right? How are we supposed to, okay, let's say a equals, no, let's print out args. Actually, no, let's print out a first. Actually, there's no a. Let's print out args first. Then let's do a equals this. I'm hoping this unpacks it. And then we can print out the type of a. Also, we can print out a. Okay. Now here we can call some func o1 and pass in 1, 2, 3. Did I do something wrong? Undefined name some func o1. Oh, it has to be at the top. Okay. All right. Unpack operation not allowed in this context. Not allowed in this context. Start expression cannot be used here. Unpack operation not allowed. That's interesting. Okay, let's do that then. And run this. That gives us a tuple. This gives us a tuple. Okay, that's interesting. So then that's not a list. Yeah, that's not a list. Hold on, I need to go back and look at that. I guess we're obsessing over the argument list thing again. Um, Give me a second. I'm just going back to that conversation that I was having with Gemini and um okay, reset. Okay. Where was the conversation? I seem to have lost the conversation. Let me open up these two tabs and see. Okay, this is for speeding up Rust compilation. This is Parquet. Okay. All right. I think I might have closed the tab. Oh no, here it is. Okay. This was the one. Yeah, I'm currently learning polars. Can you tell me how so and so is able to accept? Yep, okay. So it takes an expression and then named expression. So we do we can do kw args as well. Kw args. Okay. So then we call this, and then okay, we can also pass in. Wait, sorry. How am I supposed to be? Should I do it like this? Would I then be able to? No, I still can't. Um, okay. Here we can pass in a equals 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh, b equals, I don't know, a, b, c, and that's it. Then we can print out kw args. Can we access this in this way? Apparently we can. Okay. B equals kw args, and then we print out b, and we also print out the type for b. Expected expression. Expected an expression. Okay, so I guess this is mainly for, no, hold on, dude. I need to, I'm confusing things here. Okay, the positional power. Because of the asterisk, all of these are valid. Wait, let's go back to this thing. So we have position only, we have standard, we have keyword only, and then keyword args. Okay, what about args? Okay, with args, if we specify something different, like, okay, instead of this, let's do some func o1, a equals 1, b equals 2, c equals 3. What are we looking at now? Yeah, let's try that. So it's still a tuple. The tuple is empty. It doesn't take anything, but hold on. Keyword arguments. This affected keyword arguments. Okay, what if I then passed in a separate thing? A, like this. Okay, now we've got an issue. Got multiple values for keyword argument A. All right, let's try B. No, C, D. Let's try D. Okay, so everything gets added to the keyword arguments if I have specified names for them. So if there's a name to connect the value to, then it gives us, then it puts it into a dictionary, which makes sense. That makes sense. However, if I do it in this way, then it goes into the tuple. All right. Okay. Then it goes into the tuple. Okay, let me go back and read. Also, I don't know if we are fast or slow here. Hold on. We could be a tiny bit faster, but I don't think it's that much of an issue. Okay, I mean I'll refresh the thing anyways, just in case if it helps. Yeah, didn't have that much. Okay. All right. Back to what I was doing. Yeah, keyword args. So keyword args, dude, this is one of those features that I so not just keyword args, argument no, arbitrary argument lists, be it an argument list or an argument dictionary. These are two features that I don't often implement myself. I might be using them without, realizing that I'm using them, but I don't often implement them myself um, enough to just remember that these are the rules for this thing. So, despite having learned this specific feature, I'm not even kidding, like multiple times over the past couple of years, every now and then I have to come back and revisit the thing because I don't use it nearly as much. I don't implement it nearly as much. I'm definitely using it to a certain extent, but because I'm not implementing it myself, so the information doesn't like stick. Okay, all right. I guess we can let go of this for now. It's kind of interesting. This is our arguments list, right? Okay, what would happen if I passed this in? Does this work? Yeah, this works as well. This is valid as well. So if there are no positional arguments and there are no keyword arguments and the function is only accepting um, arbitrary argument lists and keyword argument dictionaries, then Python is going to use its own ways to, you know, determine that, hey, actually, not really its own ways. Python is going to use its own like set of rules, which yeah, same thing. Its own ways to um, determine whether the stuff that's being passed in is supposed to be used in the arbitrary arguments list or in the keyword arguments list. I think one of the things that definitely puts it into the keyword arguments list is or in the keyword arguments dictionary rather, is when you bind a value to a certain variable. So a equals 1 means there is a variable named a being passed in, right? There is an argument named a, and the value 1 is bound to that variable. So you have a name. It's not just a value that's being passed in. And so, dude, I should go back and look into the concept of like binding values in Python, because back when I was learning Python and even over the years, I've never paid attention to the concept of binding a value to a variable. The only time I actually paid attention to it and really studied that concept was when I got into Rust, because Rust kind of forces you to think about that because of its memory safety and all of that. It's because of its borrow checker and basically all of its memory safety related mechanisms. Because of that, you kind of have to think about the fact that, oh, okay, this value is currently bound to this variable. When you assign it to something else, then the value has now been moved. It has either been moved to another variable or it has been copied to another variable, depending on what traits are implemented there. It'll either be moved or it'll be copied. If something has been moved from a variable, you can't use the other variable that the value was initially bound to. Um, that's where the borrow checker comes in. It checks and makes sure that you're not trying to use values that have already been moved. And usually it won't even let you compile the program if you end up in that kind of situation. Okay. Um, Hold on. So *args. Technically, this packs arguments into a tuple. I did not read this part. Okay. Technically, this packs arguments into a tuple using a single asterisk when you want to accept use a single asterisk when you want to accept a variable number of positional arguments. If you call add so and so, then args becomes so and so. Okay, and then oh, this is to pack it. This is to pack it. Okay, hold on. If that is the case, how? Wait, I wanna try something here. I have no idea if this is gonna work. I don't know what I just did there. But okay, I want to try something here. What does this do? Oh, start expression cannot be used here. Unpack operation. Unpack operation is not allowed in this context. See, that's interesting. Um, oh, so if I hold on. So if I pass in a list like this, what's really happening is that the list is being unpacked and passed in as position. I need to ask this question. Okay, so um, all right, let's go back to the basics, um, keeping the whole polars thing aside for a sec. Um, I created a function that takes this args and this kw args. Um, I noticed something when I call the function and pass in, okay, wait, I created a function sum underscore func o1. Let's give it a name. When I call the function and pass, no, let me just say when I call the function as sum underscore func o1, 1, 2, 3, then that list is accessible, or that list gets stored as a tuple. However, when I try to um, when I try to do something like um, a equals args, yeah, asterisk args, then I get an error saying unpack operation is not allowed in this context. Help me. Oh, wait. Another thing I noticed is that while I can pass a list using using asterisk um, into the function, I can also just pass each of those values as positional arguments, and even that translates to a tuple within the function. Help me understand what's going on here with the unpack error. Also, is calling sum underscore func or one asterisk 1, 2, 3 basically just implicitly unpacking the list into positional arguments. Okay, you've hit on the most confusing part of Python syntax. The asterisk wears two different hats depending on which side of the function fence it's on. The two hats of asterisk. To understand why your code errored, you have to distinguish between packing and unpacking. The function definition, packing. When you see asterisk in a def statement, um, it's a catcher's mitt. It says take all these loose positional arguments and pack them into a single tuple. Okay? The function call, unpacking. When you see asterisk in a function call, it's an explosion. That's an interesting way to put it. It's an explosion. It says take this list slash tuple and shatter it into several positional arguments before sending them over. Wait, so I can pass in a tuple as well? Let's try that. Let's try changing this to, okay, let's, just for the sake of having some distinction. Yeah, okay, okay. So both a list and a tuple would then be expanded or unpacked into positional arguments and then passed in like that. And then because these are positional arguments that don't really belong to anything, they're not expected by the function, so they get lumped in with the arbitrary arguments tuple, and that entire tuple gets presented as, or well, that entire list, that entire group of values gets presented as a tuple. Okay, all right. So to answer your question, yes, calling sumfunc o1 asterisk 123 is absolutely just implicitly unpacking the list into positional arguments. Why did a equals asterisk args fail? You've got the unpack operation. You got the unpack operation as not allowed error because in older or standard versions of Python, the explosion, quote unquote, only knows how to happen in specific containers. What was I saying? Yeah, only knows. Sorry, I just saw the kitty terminal. It just threw up like a an update an update notification, and I was looking at that, and then I was thinking about like, oh, is this going to be a headache to update? No, not really. I mean, this specific window, I'm gonna have to close it. That's a bit of a pain. The pain here really is recreating this layout because I would prefer to have I would prefer to have the size be exact. Though, okay, the size can be exact. Now that I think about it, yeah, the size can be exact. I'm just gonna need to be streaming. I need a way to compare the size here. Yeah, so before I restart the Kitty terminal to update it, I'm gonna need to take like a screenshot or find a different way of measuring because I have to zoom this window out enough that I'm able to fit these three things in, and then I kind of like expand it um, so you guys can see it. This window is, I think, 1366 by 768, and I'm expanding it to a 1920 by 1080. Oh, wait, no, I'm expanding it to, I'm not really expanding it now that I think about it. Because I stream at 720p, not at 1080. My connection is not that great. Though someone did make a comment uh, on one of my VOD uploads asking if I can stream in a higher resolution. And that was what actually got me to take a look at my VODs and see if things are actually legible, if people are actually able to read the stuff. Um, the answer is sometimes. I mean, in some cases, yeah, some cases, no. With this new setup that I've got, yes, it is possible to read. Not the browser stuff. The browser stuff in the bottom left, it is not meant to be readable for you guys. You're just supposed to be seeing that, hey, so and so browser window is open. But the real, like, meat of what's going on is supposed to be within these terminal windows. So I've zoomed them in enough that um, you're able to you're able to see it. And this is something that I was checking yesterday on stream. I well, not on stream, off stream. Um, Also, I lost a couple of days worth of VODs because I became late to download them. So I think I lost from like I don't remember what was it. I think from the 19th to I don't want to move to that window right now, otherwise it's gonna oh I can probably do it here. Um, However, I don't want to do it on stream because I'm not sure. I could do it in this way. Yahtzee, downloads, Twitch VODs. Um, yeah. So I have a couple of these downloaded. Where did yeah, I missed from the 19th up to the 25th. So I started downloading from the 25th. So I think I lost 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. I don't know which of those days I didn't stream. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know which of those days I didn't stream. Um, so yeah, I mean, it sucks, but yeah, I lost a couple days worth of VODs. And yeah, I mean, I've been uploading. I've started uploading the VODs again as well. I'm still in January. I'm almost halfway. Actually, I'm exactly. I think I am exactly halfway through January. I think I'm on the 14th or 15th, one of the two. I finished uploading it, and I have the remainder of January to go, and then there's the entirety of February to go. Holy shit, dude! I'm taking way too long with this content pipeline. I really don't want to push the content pipeline to the side. I want to get back to working on the content pipeline because that was a good project that I had going, dude. And I definitely don't plan on giving up on the project. I was making good progress in the project. I developed a nice workflow, and then I just got busy doing something else. You know what I should do today? Like today, um, after the stream, I should look into making that YouTube upload script. Um, well, I'm gonna be taking the upload script that the devs were nice enough to make, and I'll be modifying that for my purposes. Give me a second. Okay. Um. Oh yeah, I just noticed that I didn't open up my stream on my phone. I need to do that so that I can see my chat. So give me a second here while I set that up, and then I can continue. Actually, give me another second. Let me hydrate while this thing loads up. Never mind, it loaded up, but I'm still gonna hydrate. So give me a second. Okay, all right. Damn, we are what 40 minutes into the stream. That's crazy. Okay, right. You got the unpack operation is not allowed error because in older or standard versions of Python, the explosion only knows how to happen in specific containers like function calls, lists, or tuples. Like function calls, lists, or tuples. So that means I could do something like um okay, wait. So that means I could do something like let's say 1 2 3 b equals I don't know 4 5 6 and then c equals this and this. Actually, we need to print this as well. Print C. That's crazy, dude. Okay. I didn't know that was a thing. If I did know, I've forgotten about it. Um Good to know. This this is this is definitely good to know because this thing that I'm doing here, this would have been a couple lines of like looping instead. Or I mean, I would have probably found like a another way to do it. I don't know, maybe there's a tuple function or is there a tuple function? There's a tuple class. There's a list class as well. We can call the tuple class. Yeah, what if yeah, I don't know if there's like the unpacking functionality would have been nearly as seamless as this. Because I mean there are more manual ways of doing or there are different ways of doing this, but like they would have been a little more manual than this. This is much more convenient. Okay. Um, right. Only knows how to happen in specific containers like function calls, lists, or tuples. It can't just hang out in the open air or in the open air on the right side of the assignment. Okay, the fix is if you want to unpack those values into a new variable, you have to give them a destination. Okay, so unpack it into a list or to individual variables. That's another. This is called extended iterable unpacking. Wait, wait, hold on. That's crazy. Back up. So we have a list, right? Okay, we're gonna say C and D, but this is what this thing did, not args. A. So if we do this and we print out C and then we print out D, what are we what values are we getting? One is a list. That is so interesting. I did not know that is a possibility. So C equals A and no, how did it unpack? This is wait, dude, this is interesting. C got the first value and D got the remaining two values. How does that work? So Gemini is saying that this is called extended iterable unpacking. Okay, or to a tuple. args so and so. Oh yeah, so within a tuple we are expanding the thing. Okay, calling a function with so and so, you are unpacking your okay, defining a function with so and so. The function provides a big trunk args to catch whatever clothes you threw at it. Um, okay, help me understand this. A equals 1, 2, 3. Okay. C equals, actually, C asterisk D equals A. Print C, print D. The value of C is 1 and D is 2, 3. You've just discovered extended iterable unpacking, and your observation is spot on. This is one of the most elegant features of Python. It's like pattern matching of your data. It's like pattern matching for your data. Here's exactly what's happening in that so-and-so line. The greedy asterisk in the assignment. Wait, so if that is the case, does that mean that I can unpack? So let's say I did something like this. Oh, wait, it's A, and I do something like this. Would this work? So unpack operation is not allowed in this context. It's allowed in this context though, but it's not allowed in this context. That's interesting. Though I probably would be able to generate a list in this way because you can pass in any iterable into list, and then you can construct a list out of that. Uh, okay. In an assignment, the asterisk acts as a slurp operator. That's something new. It says give the specific variables their share first, and I will suck up everything else that's left into a list. C is a bare variable. It takes the first available item. Slurp operator. This is a new thing. Well, for me at least. Okay, so C is a bare variable. It takes the first available item, which is 1, and D. Oh, okay, dude. You know what? My question was gonna be, why is it that C did not become a tuple, and why is it that C doesn't have multiple values? I think the reason for that is this. When we do something like this, so if I did E, F, and G, this would unpack into these values. So this is perfectly valid. This is actually how you unpack a tuple, and I think maybe a list as well. I don't know. Can I do that for a list? I guess we'll find out. Let me change this to A instead and print this. Okay, and then let's change it to B and print it. Okay, awesome. So we can do it with a list and a tuple. Now back to what I was saying. This is usually how you unpack, right? And when you unpack a tuple or a list into individual values, then like single values get stored in there. So coming back to this example, that is why the first value from A went into C, and that was a single value because that's how the unpacking is supposed to work. um, that's where the first value was put into C, and then all the remaining stuff went into D. Okay, why is D a list? You might wonder, if A was a tuple, why is D a list? That actually was going to be my next question. In Python's unpacking logic, in Python's unpacking logic, the rest of the quote unquote rest of the items are always packed into a list, regardless of whether the original source was a tuple, a set, or a string. You know what? Speaking of sets, I don't think I've ever used a set type. There might be like super, super rare occasions where I've used it, so rare that I don't even remember if I've ever used it. I don't think I've ever used it. Yeah, I don't think so. I think a set is supposed to be something that cannot have identical elements. I don't remember. What does this take? Takes an iterable? Okay, let's do that. GH. And then let's print H. That is a set. Okay. All right, this is not giving us a definition of. Oh, we could do this. Right. I like that it opens up a pager as well. I was expecting it to just drop a whole bunch of info, but instead it opened up a pager. That's super helpful because it now I can quit this and go back to this. That's really helpful. Okay, help on set objects. It builds an unordered collection of unique elements. Okay, so there's no repetition in it. Okay. All right. All right. By the way, speaking of like unique elements, this is reminding me that I need to use hash set more, and I think hash table as well in Rust. I forgot what their version of dictionary is, whether it's a hash set or a hash table. It's one of the two. I think it's hash table. And then you have hash set, and that brought me to the concept of hashes, and that made me look into search related stuff. So like if you have some sort of um, some sort of database that needs to be queried, some sort of database where there's various items that need to be compared against, specifically compared against. If it's very long text or just text in general that you have to, parse constantly, it can be very, very heavy on the system, and the algorithm is not going to be that fast in terms of comparisons. So, like, if you have like hundreds of them, it's fine. Maybe thousands might be fine as well. But like once you go into much, much longer lists, or once you go into a much longer list, it can start to slow down. And apparently, hash sets help with that because you can use, um, I forgot something binary. I think it was binary search, binary tree, I believe. I think it was binary tree. That actually led me to two separate things. I just remembered this. One was something to do with Bloom filter or something like that, and then another was, I believe, just the binary tree. So these were some of the concepts that I was supposed to look into, and I might actually be able to use these concepts in one of my other projects as well. So maybe I should take some time and learn these things. Or, I mean, let me just continue with what I'm doing right now, and eventually, when I need it, then I'll use it. Okay, man, we are almost an hour into the stream, and so far, I'm still just looking into these basic features of Python. Um, I mean, I'm not complaining though. That kind of sounded like I'm complaining. I'm not complaining though because I mean this is also technically me studying. Okay. This ensures you can immediately use list methods like append or pop on the remainder. Okay, all right. The flexibility of the slurp. Okay, Gemini is calling this the slurp operator. Slurp operator. I don't know if Gemini is just giving some sort of analogy kind of a weird analogy, but okay. What is Python does not Python does not have a dedicated slurp operator in the way languages like Perl or Raku do, where a special operator or so and so. In Python, this functionality is achieved. Wait, slurp operators are a thing. There's a splat operator, slurp built in. Okay, okay. I thought it was just Gemini giving like some sort of analogy because Gemini likes to give analogies, but like there was probably a reason why it was printed out in bold compared to the other text. I'm going to look into slurp operators later on. For now, we're going to continue with learning polars. Let's get back into it. So, yesterday we learned a bunch. We learned a lot. Um, and I'm starting to like I'm starting to like polars a lot because of the way that things are done here. So the idea is that at least from what I remember from yesterday, the idea is that we create the expression. The expression is not immediately evaluated. It gets evaluated when you pass it into a context. And a context is something like the select function, or I think some other options are with columns and filter and group by. I think these are also contexts. Yeah, with columns is a context. Filter is also a context. Group by is also a context. Um, there's something mentioned about aggregations. Okay, rolling is another context, which I might actually be able to use this. Hold on, dude. I might be able to use this. Dude, what I'm learning in polars, I might be able to apply this. This just occurred to me, dude. I might be able to apply this to, because I'm quite literally doing data science stuff or data handling at the very least with data handling stuff with my auto clipper. At this point, it's called the content pipeline. Yeah, with my content pipeline, I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of like data handling because there's going to be data being produced and then processed, and then more data will be produced from it, and then there's going to be filtering to a certain extent. There's going to be a whole bunch of data handling operations going on, and I feel like if I start doing that with polars, I'm going to get pretty decent experience of using polars. So it's gonna teach me polars pretty well. Give me a second. My stream on my phone just froze. So I don't know if I mean the stream should still be live. I don't think we've completely crashed. Yeah, no, we're good. It's just a Twitch mobile app that sometimes glitches out and then the stream freezes. To be fair, I usually just pause the thing. I just have the thing open on my phone so I can see the chat. Okay, all right. Moving on, we've finished select and we got to learn quite a bit. I feel like at this point I should be practicing stuff with select. Um, you know what I could do? For the sake of practicing, what if I got Gemini to generate. Now, I won't be able to show that on stream though. Well, I mean, I can kind of. I can't show the Gemini conversation because I'm going to be using Gemini Web. Man, I'm kind of disappointed. Okay, let me talk about this. Google provided this was clever. This was super clever. They provided us with Gemini CLI. Okay, and Gemini CLI, I was using it on another account that I had, which initially it didn't complain about API quota limits, or it would take a little bit to, hit those limits. And then gradually those limits started to shrink. And at a certain point, the limit just it kind of vanished. I don't even know if that makes sense, but like I would constantly be getting, um, you know, you've used up your quota for the day or whatever their message was. And if I would go to Google AI Studio to what do you call it, to check the API usage limits, because like they have like tools that let you track your usage. They'll present it as a graph, or well, usually as a graph. It wouldn't even make sense, because like there's been one situation where I was I wasn't able to use um Gemini Pro, I think it was. I don't remember which one. I think it was Gemini Pro. For a good like month, it would constantly say you've used up your quota. And I hadn't used it in over a month. And then I would be able to use some of the smaller models, but then even those would run out of quotas. And then on another account, eventually I started to run into that issue again, and I was like, okay, dude, I need to I need to minimize my usage of this until I'm able to self-host my own Gemini, or not even Gemini, self-host my own like agentic, or even just an LLM. But it's Gemini CLI, to a certain extent. It is actually not to a certain extent. It is agentic. Gemini CLI is agentic. It has been for a while. That's why it's able to like um, set up different tasks for itself. So it can like spawn little sub agents internally to finish those tasks, and then they return the result, and then the model does its thing. Um, what was I saying? Yeah, I need to dude, I need to look into setting up my own agentic workflow. There's two ways that I can approach this. One is using ready-made tools where I just plug an LLM into it, and another is building my own tools, which also makes sense because I do want to learn, about agentic AI development. We were doing that Kaggle course, which I never I never went back to because I got distracted with other stuff. But yeah, there's that. There's also a Hugging Face agents course, which I think I decided that I was gonna do that course instead. I don't remember. Hold on, let me go back up here and check. Uh, I don't even remember what the Gemini course here was. Okay, HF Agents course. So I decided instead of Kaggle, I was going to do HF Agents course. Because, I mean, okay, there were two things that were really important to me. One, actually, at this point, I'm only able to remember one of them. So, okay, the main thing that was important to me was that I'm not getting outdated info. Um, my next thing that I was going to say was that I'm getting the latest info, but like, kind of the same thing. Not getting outdated info, getting latest info. Um, but yeah, my main thing was I didn't want to be looking at outdated info. Um, I but then I realized that okay, to a certain extent, I'm gonna be learning the foundations because with agents, there are foundations that you need to learn about. You build on top of those foundations. So even even if the technology is like evolving, I think the concept of agents, it kind of like remains stable. The foundation remains stable. The way that you achieve it might change. So I guess either of the courses would do, and I decided to go with HF Agents course. At this point, I don't even know when I'm gonna do it. Um, but yeah, anyways. Um, where, what was I? Yeah, this. Okay. All right. Getting back to this thing. So what I could do is off stream, just so I'm able to practice select. I could get Gemini to generate a data set for me, a CSV data set, and then I'll load that data set and I'll ask Gemini to give me 5 exercises to do with select. And hopefully, once I've solved those 5 exercises, um, I'll know I'll know how to use select well enough. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I like that idea. Okay, the expressions in a context select must produce series that are all the same length. Oh yeah, this was the thing about broadcasting. This was also like we learned this yesterday. The concept of broadcasting, where the context will broadcast a scalar value to match the length of any other series in within that context. Okay, hold on. Within a context must produce so and so, or they must produce a scalar. Scalars will be broadcast to match. Well, okay, I don't know if it's accurate to say that the context is what's doing the broadcasting. I think it would be more accurate to say that the Polaris engine is doing the broadcasting. I should try to find out though where exactly does the broadcasting happen. But yeah, okay. Scalars will be broadcast to match the length of the remaining series. Literals like numbers used above are also broadcast. Note that broadcasting can also occur within expressions. For instance, yeah, okay, all right. Um, okay, it says here df.select and so and so. Okay, so we have BMI BMI underscore expression dot mean. This would be a scalar value, and then this gets subtracted. Well, this gets converted, this gets broadcasted to a series, and then that series is subtracted from BMI expression because BMI expression is a series. Um, and then that result is one series, which is then divided by STD, but because STD or standard deviation is also a scalar, that gets broadcast to a series so that then we can have element wise division between each of the elements of uh, the the other series with this standard deviation series. Okay, all right. Uh, both the subtraction and the division use broadcasting within the expression because the sub-expressions that compute the mean and the standard deviation evaluate to single values. The context single is very the context select. The context select is very flexible and powerful and allows you to evaluate arbitrary expressions independent of and in parallel to each other. This is also true of the other contexts that we will see next. No, let me read that again. I feel like I didn't absorb what I just read. The context select is very flexible and powerful and allows you to evaluate arbitrary expressions. Is very flexible and powerful and allows you to evaluate arbitrary expressions. Oh, is this what we did yesterday and also what's going on here, up here? Because like this could this could count as an arbitrary expression, right? Or even something like, I don't know, pl.call plus we could okay, we could test something out here. Okay. So we have BMI expression. Actually, okay, we could do um, weight equals pl.call. Wait. Oh, yeah, there was another thing here. I think this is a thing. pl.call. So if I don't specify anything here, oh, I have to put this with it. Can I wait? Is there a code action for this? Disable the line, fix so and so. Okay, never mind. Oh, let me check if there's a thing here. Hold on. I'm just gonna ask Gemini a question and see. Okay, I'm doing Python coding in neovim bracket lazyvim. There are situations where a function is expecting a string, but I pass in the word without quotes. Is there a quick shortcut to add the quotes? Okay. Okay. In the world of NeoVim and specifically LazyVim, you have a few ways to fix this without the tedious backspace and retype. I wasn't gonna backspace though, but okay, okay. There's nvim surround. I remember hearing about this. Okay, since LazyVim comes prepackaged with nvim surround, you have a powerful engine for exactly this task. The surround shortcut. LazyVim includes nvim surround plugin by default. This is the gold standard for adding, changing, or deleting surrounding characters like quotes, brackets, and tags. To wrap an existing word in quotes, place your cursor anywhere in the word and then do YSIW. Wait, Y doesn't do that though. Y is for yank. Okay, let's try it. Y. Oh, okay. This has S. S is flash. S is not surround. Okay, Y S I. Nope, nope. It's not going that way. Um, I'm gonna have to find out. Wait, okay. In visual mode, we have visual inner word. Okay, VIW. Okay, right. Okay, let's try this. Then I, no. IW, no. That did not do what I was expecting. Wait, let's see if there's anything surround related. Add empty line above. Okay, yeah, that I already do that. Uh, okay. There has to be something. It's probably just that I don't know about it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into. I'm gonna have to look into it. Okay. For now, let's just do this. Right. So, Okay, so this is interesting because if you just pass in the column and assuming the column exists, you don't even need to pass in like a name. You don't even need to pass in a name. It just uses the column's name. Now, next we need to have an expression here. I wonder what it's going to do in this case. Okay, let's do, oh, there has to be some sort of series there. Yeah, there has to be some sort of series. So like I was about to do PL dot, oh yeah, yeah, you know what, that's a good example. So it was going to be wait plus PL dot call height, and that works. So far, no errors. Now there's an error. Okay. Uh, Projections contain duplicate output named so and so. It's possible that multiple expressions are returning the same default column name. If this is the case, try renaming the columns. Okay, so we need to give it a different, wait, with dot alias. I didn't know this was a thing. Let's try that. Let's try that. So in here we can do this and then dot alias, rename the expression. I don't know, something. That's crazy, dude. I didn't know that was an option. So something, or well, alias. Alias is an option. What I was gonna do is I was gonna do something equals, if I can spell, something equals this, and yeah, that produces the same result. Though, if I'm within an expression, then the dot alias thing definitely helps. I wonder if, okay, if we assign a different, like I'm trying to think of, okay, we've assigned an alias to apparently an expression, then can we use pl.call with that alias name? Would that work? Because like I can see that being useful in very complex expressions. I don't have complex expressions so far because, still a beginner. But like would that be a possibility? Okay, all right. Moving on. The context select is very flexible and powerful and allows you to evaluate arbitrary expressions independent of and in parallel to each other. This is also true of the other contexts that we will see next. Then with columns. Okay, the context with columns is very similar to the context select. The main difference between the two is that the context with columns creates, sorry, zoned out. Okay, the context with columns is very similar to the context select. The main difference between the two is that the context with columns creates a new data frame that contains the columns from the original data frame and the new columns according to its what? That contains the columns from the original data frame and the new columns according to its input expressions, whereas the context select only includes the columns selected by its input expression. Oh, okay. So if we apply that over here, what we would get is actually an error. Hold on, because I'm doing weight and height here. Now we should be fine because there's something. So if I change this to with columns and run this, That's what with columns does. Okay, all right. We can, uh, I don't know, provide something called laugh, pil.lit, lamau, and then print that out as well. Okay, cool, cool. Okay, good to know. Great. This is actually useful because so far I've been trying to print out, the individual columns, but then now with this, it's super simple. Because of this difference, because of this difference between select and with columns, the expressions used in a context with columns must produce series that have the same length as the original columns in the data frame, whereas it is enough for the expressions in the context select to produce series that have the same length among them. Okay, I kind of get that. I kind of get that because I can't think of an example where this would happen, but there is a chance that maybe the expression produces a series that is not the same length as the entire data frame, as the number of rows in the data frame. So it's going to have its own size, its own length. And if none of the columns from the data frame are part of this result, and it's only this specific series that's newly made that has its own custom length, if only this series is being used, and then you want to put in like, scalar values, those scalar values would be broadcast to this specific length. They don't have to be broadcast to the length of the original columns. Okay. Sorry, zoned out. Okay. Um, yeah, I think we are done with columns as well. That was quick. That was actually quick. Okay, the context filter filters the rows of a data frame based on one or more expressions that evaluate to the Boolean data type. So is this like Boolean indexing basically? I think so. I think so, yeah. This is kind of like Boolean indexing. Based on the filters, no, filters the rows based on one or more expressions that evaluate to the Boolean data type. Yeah, yeah. I'm assuming this is Boolean indexing. This is gonna apply this expression to every single element in there. Though it might not necessarily be Boolean indexing, even though it's a Boolean data type, maybe internally they're doing something else. But yeah, I mean, pretty much Boolean indexing. Pl.call.is between. Um, wait, yeah, let's practice this. So let's first print out. Wait, we don't need to print out. We can look at this. Weight and height. I don't remember how I made the date. Is date like, so we have date from Polars. Um, that hasn't been imported. We have date and date. I think it might accept this date as well. I think so. Polars has its own date thing, so let's take a look at that. Creates a Polar's literal expression of type date. So we have year, month, day, and that's it. Okay, let's, um, I don't know, 2026. Let's just go with today's thing. So March 12th. Let's print that out and see what is the value that we get. We did not get anything. Oh, um, 03 was the problem. Okay, this is pl.date. So this is meant to be a part of an expression. I don't think I can use this in, I don't think I can use this in, like when I'm defining a data frame. What did I do here? I used dt.date. Right. Okay. Um, I want to make this example a little bigger. So here's what I'm going to do. Okay. I am going to copy this. How do I? Yeah, here. So we do that and do that. Okay. Let's go into Gemini, create a new thing. Hey, I have this data frame defined in my Python code. Um, add in around, okay, add in enough extra data to make it around 20 to 30 rows. Oh, I didn't give the code. It looks like you're working with polars, which is a great choice for speed. I've expanded the dataset to 25 rows with realistic variations and kept your... I could have just told Gemini to generate CSV data for me. I just realized that. Anyways, we can copy this entire thing. And yeah, Gemini is given there. So that is our... Oh, yeah, let's get rid of the trailing commas here. Now it's a little big. Or, I mean, okay, get rid of that, get rid of that. Can't get rid of it. Okay. Uh, okay, I mean, whatever. I need to... Oh, you know what I'll do? I'll write this to a file. I do have a file here, which is, I think it's this one, some JSON. I think this is it, right? What is this data supposed to be? This is supposed to be BMI. Yeah, let's just call it BMI. Is it BMI? So far we are doing... Oh, user fitness. Let's call that. Um, or just fitness works as well. So let's not do that. And oh, I think I put it into docs. Yeah, output.csv. It's in docs. Okay, PL dot um what was for CSV? Scan? No. Write to? Is it scan? No, this is to read. This is not to write. What was the thing to write? I forgot. Hold on. We should have it somewhere here. Actually, it should be up here. No, not this one. It'll be in, yeah, reading, reading and writing. Oh, was it DF, not PL? I think it was DF. Okay. Maybe it was DF. DF dot write. Oh, there it is. DF dot write CSV. This has to go. We can put this into data sets. Um, yeah. Fitness dot CSV, and that should be it. And now if I try to read, we can read it with tab U, data sets, fitness. This is our data. So we have 25 rows. Actually, can you make it 100? Okay, to scale this up to 100 while keeping the data realistic, I'll use a loop with some random variation. This prevents the data from looking like a perfect robotic copy paste. Okay, and then in the end that creates, okay, we might need a separate file for this. Um, so here's what I'm gonna do. Okay, you're gonna create a py02.py. We're gonna save it, and then we're gonna drop this. Okay, then, okay, first let's print this out. This is gonna be 100 rows, so it's probably gonna be a lot of data. Oh, what I could do is pipe it into bat. That's, oh, because it is head. So let's get rid of that, and then we should be able to print it. Oh, it kind of squashed the it squashed the data. All right. Well, at least it's telling us that the shape is, well, I don't need to pipe it into bat, but yeah, at least it's telling us that there's 100 rows and there's 4 columns. Right. So now that we have this, we can write CSV. Hold on, what's going on? Okay. Dot datasets fitness, and then we run this, and then we run this, and we have 100 rows. Awesome. Great. Let's take, let's look at a histogram of this. Let's do it by, I guess, weight. Let's do 5 buckets. Interesting. Okay. I'm trying to look for variation in here. Their weights are all, if they're all going to be like between 50 and 100, yeah, five buckets was enough for that. We could split it up into 10 buckets as well. We can do histogram, weight. We can do 24 buckets as well. Gives us a lot more variation. Okay. All right. So we have our data here. We can now close this. What just happened? We can now close this and get rid of this. Probably get rid of this as well. Yeah, so further from this point, if I want to have data generated, oh, you know what I should do? No, wait. We should go back to the old method. Yeah, and just stick with this, but I'll comment out this entire thing and instead say df equals, because like then in the future, if I ever need to recreate this, then at least I have a template. Scan CSV dot slash datasets fitness, and then there was one specific flag which was for parsing something. I think it was try parse dates. Yeah, it was try parse dates because we have dates that are in string form, I believe. Um, they are, yeah, the dates are in string time, in string form. So they need to be parsed. Okay. Right. So if I do this and then I just load up this, we should get, dude, actually keeping the list small might have been a good idea. Hold on, wait. Okay, now let's assume, so I'm not gonna get rid of that list because I purposely wanted that list to be big enough so later on I can, do some operations on it. However, I only want to load like 10 items. Okay, now let's assume I've written this to a CSV file, and now I want to load the CSV. Oh, I could just do df equals df dot head. Df equals df dot head, and hold on, something happened here. What is this supposed to return? It's supposed to return a lazy frame. How are we reading values back? Oh, it's not scan? For some reason I thought it's scan. What's the difference between scan and read? I thought it was scan. Um yeah, okay, we can change this to read. There's our data. We have, yeah, we have the entire data. Wait, what is this? Why do we have these numbers? Why do we have these numbers being added? Okay, month, day, so and so, so and so. Okay. Name. What comes here? Oh, for some reason it chose to add a space and a number after the person's name. I mean that's not really that big. That's not really that big of a deal. That's not really too much of an issue. Um, we can get rid of it and we can rewrite the data. So that's done. And yeah, now we have a different list of names. Now, if we try to print this out or, do our operations on it, this is what we've got. Okay. Okay. Right. So this will be useful for me even off stream because I'll have this what do you call it? This data frame to work with on this laptop that I'm streaming from. I can then later on boot into Ubuntu Studio and not Ubuntu Studio, into Ubuntu, and I can just transfer the file there and or just even regenerate the file, honestly. But like, yeah, I can transfer the file there, and I can then get Gemini to set up a couple of exercises for me. Actually, it would be better if I get Gemini to generate um, the data frame for me, or generate the code to generate the data frame for me, and then in that same conversation, because now Gemini knows what the format of this data frame is. Gemini knows what the specific types in this data frame are. So then I can tell Gemini that, okay, I'm learning how to use select. So give me a couple of exercises that I can do with select. Then I'll tell it to give me a couple of exercises to do with columns. Though, I mean, isn't the only difference between with columns and select the fact that, well, okay, so I was about to say that isn't the only difference between these two the fact that with columns shows the columns and select, sorry, zoned out. With columns shows the columns and select doesn't show the columns unless you specify the columns. I was about to say that, but then another difference there is the fact that because with columns shows the columns, so you already have like a set length that any possible scalars or literals must be um, or must be broadcast to. You already have a length that any possible scalars or literals would need to be broadcast to if you want them to be part of this data frame. So yeah, I mean there is that bit of a difference. But yeah, yeah. Though I so it's not just about select. So we have select, and then we have the expressions that I'm going to give to select. And we haven't gotten into the expressions just yet. Um, Hold on just a second. Okay, concepts. So we have data types and structures, expressions and contexts, lazy API, streaming. Then expressions gets expanded further. I kind of feel like I should go through all of this, but then I don't have that much time. So I'm definitely not going to be looking into stuff like plugins, which it's good to know that there are plugins supported. I'm not going to be looking into SQL or migrating or miscellaneous or even GPU support for that matter. IO, so far, I think it's okay. So it depends on what specific um, format you're going for. So that's like dependent on that's more of a reference kind of thing. Like, oh, okay, I want to load up a CSV, and there's certain specific things that I want. Like, oh, I want you to try and parse dates. I want you to not load in the first column, which is an index column. I want you to like there's those various parameters that you'll have. So I don't think I need to look into IO. Lazy API. This I might need to look into this. Yeah, I'll need to look into this and transformations as well. Wait, how did they handle pivot tables? Is this a pivot table or something else? Give it a second to load. In the meantime, we can. Okay, so we were reading. Oh, okay, it's loaded. Pivot. Pivot a column in a data frame and perform one of the following aggregations. The pivot operation consists of a group by one or multiple columns. These will be the new y-axis. The column that will be pivoted. Oh, the column that will be pivoted. This will be the new x-axis and an aggregation. The pivot operation consists of a group by one or multiple columns. The column that will be pivoted and an aggregation. Okay. All right. Okay. Pivot. Okay. Is there the concept of multi-indexing in polars as well? Because I remember that being a thing in pandas, and I never actually got a chance to explore that part. Um, so I wonder if there is a way to go about doing that, if it is even required. I don't even remember. Like I never went too deep into multi-indexing to know what it would be useful for. But at least from what I remember, it was more like having multiple different types of tables within one table itself, if that makes sense. Um, or it was a way to have like a multi-dimensional table so you could access different parts of different bits of information in like a multi-dimensional array kind of way or a jagged array kind of way. That's what I got from it, but I never really went too deep into it. But yeah, we have a bunch of these things to explore. That is after we get done with the basics. We are not yet done with filters, so let's take a look at filter. The context filter filters the rows of a documentation based on one or more expressions that evaluate to the Boolean data type. Sorry, zoned out. Okay. The context filter filters the rows of a data frame based on one or more expressions that evaluate to the Boolean data type. Okay, all right. Is between date so and so. What kind of date is it expecting? Let's take a look at that. Okay, so this is our okay, that's done. Filter. Right, so result equals df dot filter, and this is expecting, oh wait, I have to look at between. Right, pl dot call birth date dot is between lower bound, upper bound. Oh, into expression. This has to be an expression. Um, Wait, what does this say? So lower bound value accepts expression input. Strings are parsed as column names. Strings are parsed as column names. Other non-expression inputs are parsed as literals. Okay, same thing for upper bound. Then closed. Define which sides of the interval are closed. I'll look into that later. Notes. Wait, I need to be able to read this. Okay. Notes. If the value of the lower bound is greater than the value of the upper bound, then the result will be false, as no value can satisfy the condition. Okay, that makes sense. This returns an expression of type Boolean. Is between so and so. Right. Does pl dot date, what does pl dot date return? What does this evaluate? This returns an expression. Can I actually pass in an expression? So okay, let's say 2026. Wait, what is this expecting? It's expecting year, but year is also an expression. So I guess the literal can be considered. The literal does get considered as an expression, right? 03. Maybe the zero is not necessary. We can't wait. What are the dates that we have? We have from 19. Okay, let's do 1980 to 1990. Yeah, we have like 100, right? So let's do 1980 to 1990. Actually, I could do that here, right? Not fuzzy search, but probably this. No, I can't do that here because this is a string. Oh, voice crack. I can only do that here. 1980 to 1990. pl.date. Okay, and then height. So we also want to print out their height. Okay, pl.call height greater than 1.7. This is interesting. So these are all evaluating to like a boolean value. Only rows where the predicate resolves as true are returned. Okay. The original order so and so is maintained or preserved. Uh, Predicates. Expressions that evaluate to a Boolean series. Okay, so the expression has to evaluate to a Boolean series. So if I give it, I don't know, 5, is that gonna work? What is that? Oh, what does that give us? 5. 5 is invalid. And there's our result. Wait, is that being printed out? That's not being printed out. That's not our result. This is our result. There's only one person between 1980 and 1990. Oh, with that height. Okay, yeah, yeah. With that height, there's probably only one person. Let's make it like this. Still. Oh, this time it's a different person. Height greater than. Wait, why is that though? Why did only one person come through? Because it's still true, right? Like the height is greater than one, but then if I do two, there's nothing. Um, that is odd. In the previous, oh wait, no, that's not odd because okay, I was looking at the name. Okay, that's not even showing up on stream. The name that I was looking at was this one, which was like the way that it was cut off on stream. I was looking at this name, and this one had the height 1.56, so I was kind of confused by that. But yeah, yeah, this is doing what it's supposed to do. If we go back to 1.7, are we going to see the same name? Yes, we are still seeing the same name. What are the different heights that we have here? Hold on. Let's take a look at. Okay, so we are looking for greater than one. Wait, I said greater than 1.0, and all of these are greater than 1.0. That's odd. Why is it not equals df dot filter? Oh, maybe this is why. Yeah, this is why. Now we get all these results. Okay. So yeah, that was my mistake. I forgot I did df dot head, and yeah. Okay. Great. So now we know about filter as well. And finally, we are left with group by and aggregations. Though I don't think I'm going to be doing that today. So I'm either going to do this off stream, or off stream I'm going to do my that YouTube upload script that I need to work on. I should get to that like quick because I'm taking way too long to set that up. I should get to that quick. Um, what was I going to say? Yeah, okay. So, um, give me a second here. Actually, I don't feel like raiding today. I'm just gonna continue doing this stuff off stream. Uh, wait, I thought I clicked on this thing. Should I raid? I don't know. Cause uh hold on. Wait, am I able to raid this person? Okay, that thing is in slow mode. Somebody's doing workshop. Okay, never mind. Their thing is follower only. Um, okay, so there's this other person working on their debut. Yeah, I guess we'll go raid them. I don't know if they have raids turned on or like what's the situation. Okay, the raid is able to go through. All right, so that's gonna be it for today's stream. I'm gonna get off stream and uh, well, do other stuff. Well, basically, I have to continue learning polars and I have to work on that YouTube upload script. And then hopefully we can start making progress with Godot Rust, either in the next stream or the stream after that. I don't know. We'll see. I still have to work on the content pipeline as well, so I need to get back to that. But for that, I need the YouTube upload script to be done. And actually, for the YouTube upload script to be done, in order to have the API token in there, I need to be able to safely store. I need to be able to safely store the API keys. So yeah, I'll have to see. I'll have to see how to go about doing that. Okay. Anyways, that's going to be it for today's stream. I hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.